During that horrible shooting rampage yesterday, there were acts of bravery in the crowd. One such act was performed by Representative Giffords' intern, Daniel Hernandez. Hernandez used his medical training to attend to Giffords' wounds until the ambulance arrived. He is credited with helping to stop her bleeding. CNN's Ted Rowlands talked to Hernandez about the shooting, and Ted now joining us live from Tucson with more on this. Pretty heroic efforts.
Pretty amazing young man, Frederica, a 20-year-old college student who just started interning for the Congresswoman. He was at the event, and as you're about to hear him describe what happened in his own words, it's pretty apparent that this young man saved the Congresswoman's life.
So I was about 40 feet away from the Congresswoman and the place where she was meeting with constituents, and I was kind of behind a corner, so I couldn't see directly where the Congresswoman was from my position. I heard the gunshots, and I knew that people had been injured most likely, so I ran towards where the Congresswoman was. When I got there, I saw that there were people who had been injured. I then tried to see who had a pulse still, see if people were still breathing. I was only able to check 2 or 3 people before I noticed that Congresswoman Giffords had been injured severely. So then she became my first priority, not just because of her position, but also because of the severity of her wounds. She had a shot to the head, so I tried to make sure that I picked her up so that she wasn't in a position where she could asphyxiate in her own blood because of the position that she was originally in. I then started applying pressure to her wound to try and kind of stem the blood loss. I couldn't see an exit wound. I didn't know if there was one. All I saw was the entry wound. That's where I was applying the pressure. One of my concerns immediately was I'm touching her wound with my bare hands, and even if we do end up getting her to the emergency services pretty quickly, there was the fear of infection. People from Safeway came outside with smocks from the meat department, which were clean, that we were able to then use to cover her wound. She was alert and conscious, but she wasn't able to speak, so the way that she was communicating was by grabbing my hand and just squeezing. My main thing was just trying to keep her as alert as possible, and just keep trying to interact with her so that she was still acting with some response.
And she was?
She was. The entire time that I was with the Congresswoman, she was still responding. She was obviously in a lot of pain, so I just let her know to squeeze my hand as hard as she needed to. Once the emergency services came, and I no longer was providing the care, my main concern was trying to make sure that she knew that someone was there with her. No matter what happened, that she knew that someone was there holding her hand.
Did you save her life?
I don't think that I did. I think it was emergency services. People have been referring to me as a hero. I don't think that's something that I am. I think the people that are heroes are people like Gabby, who are public servants and who have dedicated their lives to public service. So it just makes me happy that I was able to help her in any way that I could.
And this young man, obviously, Frederica, just did an unbelievable job of staying focused, and what he did enabled the Congresswoman to get to the hospital without losing as much blood as she obviously would have, and likely this young man saved her life. He has talked to her family. They have called him to thank him for his heroics, and his medical training is only a few classes, he said, he took while he was in high school, and he said it just clicked back to him instantly. He just got into that mode, into that first aid delivery mode, and it came back to him, and he was focused throughout this entire process, and likely saved her life.
Wow, and that he remained so calm, just as he did during that interview, is remarkable, to say the very least. Ted Rowlands, thanks so much.